Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are diving into the shifting, high-stakes battlefield of the 2026 hybrid market. Just a few years ago, fully electric cars were absolutely dominating the industry conversation. It was all anyone was talking about. But today, well, shifting electricity prices, charging infrastructure hurdles, and the undeniable need for long-distance flexibility have brought modern hybrids right back to the absolute center of the automotive world. But with this massive resurgence comes an incredible amount of aggressive marketing hype. So today, we're going to separate that hype from the actual gritty reality of ownership. We're looking specifically at the giant corporate rivalry that is literally redefining the entire industry, Geely versus BYD. Okay, let's dive right into this. 2,608. That is the number that just sent an absolute shockwave through the global automotive industry. Geely recently revealed a plug-in hybrid system that claims this staggering driving range in kilometers. We are talking roughly 1,600 miles on a single full tank of fuel and a fully charged battery. No way, right? Well, for those following the engineering behind this, they're achieving it through an internal combustion engine boasting a thermal efficiency of over 46%, completely paired with cutting-edge battery chemistry integration. It's an engineering marvel on paper and a number that sounds almost impossible for a production vehicle. It makes you immediately pause and just think about the physical limits of modern efficiency. For a long time, the narrative was incredibly straightforward. BYD had seemingly won the hybrid war. Their highly refined DMI architecture impressed millions, setting the absolute gold standard for blending electric efficiency with combustion reliability. Honestly, a lot of industry analysts genuinely believed no one could catch their market share. But with Geely dropping this massive, highly optimized SOAR PHEV system right into the arena, we really have to ask a serious question. Is this new Geely masterpiece truly a technological game-changer that completely rewrites the rulebook? Or is it heavily optimized for laboratory testing just to generate some flashy headlines before buyers ever step onto the dealership floor?
Section 1. The impossible driving range. We're looking at laboratory numbers versus real-world driving.
So we've got these two giants playing completely different games with their respective hybrid architectures. On one side, you have BYD, leaning heavily on an established, incredibly successful track record. They offer iterative, proven evolutionary steps that millions of global drivers already trust with their daily commutes. On the other side, Geely arrived with this disruptive, massive leapfrog strategy. Instead of just making another efficient commuter hybrid, they specifically targeted the very real range anxiety of drivers who are actively moving away from fully electric cars. By promising an extreme, uninterrupted driving range that actually outpaces diesel, they engineered a specific solution for a specific buyer, and in doing so, intentionally captured the world's attention. But there is this golden piece of wisdom that veteran automotive technicians always repeat when new architectures launch. Big numbers sell cars, reliable engineering keeps them on the road. We really have to consider the intense mechanical strain of dual powertrain systems. Think about it. In extreme-range plug-in hybrids, the internal combustion engine often sits entirely dormant, completely cold, until the driver demands sudden, heavy acceleration on a highway. That forces the engine to instantly wake up under massive load. Managing that specific thermal shock and wear over a 5-year ownership period, it is incredibly difficult. Driving range on day one is vital, sure, but it is only one piece of a much, much larger engineering puzzle.
And this brilliantly illustrates the divide. Manufacturer figures are measured in a sterile vacuum. The homologation testing happens on a dynamometer in perfect climate-controlled conditions with a steady, optimized speed curve, zero aerodynamic drag, and a completely empty cabin. But let's be real, your actual daily commute is absolute chaos. Freezing winter mornings severely impact battery chemistry. Heavy stop-and-go traffic disrupts thermal efficiency. Sustained highway speeds introduce massive aerodynamic drag that drains the electric motor, which then forces the petrol engine to work twice as hard while carrying a cabin full of passengers and luggage. These real-world variables can and absolutely will completely destroy a perfectly calibrated laboratory fuel consumption number.
Section 2. The true cost of complexity and what actually happens outside the warranty. We really have to remember the sheer integration complexity of a modern PHEV architecture. You are simultaneously managing a high-compression internal combustion engine and a high-voltage EV drivetrain. This requires immense thermal management crossover, high-frequency power inverter switching, intricate blending of mechanical and regenerative braking, and a centralized control unit interpreting data from hundreds of sensors every single millisecond just to decide which propulsion method is most efficient. When these integrated architectures communicate seamlessly, the efficiency efficiency is beautiful, but when high-voltage communication faults occur outside of the manufacturer's warranty period, diagnosing the interplay between the combustion side and the electric side can become a deeply, deeply complicated diagnostic hurdle. Which leads us directly to a vital financial question you absolutely must factor in before signing a contract. Can your trusted local independent mechanic actually repair this specific vehicle architecture? Often, independent workshops lack the highly specialized proprietary diagnostic software and the strict high-voltage safety training required to dismantle modern battery arrays and inverters. If they can't service it, a serious out-of-warranty diagnostic fault will send you straight back to the official dealership network, effectively locking you into their painfully higher labor rates. If just one unexpected control module replacement wipes out 3 entire years of your calculated fuel savings, well, the hybrid value proposition suddenly looks very, very different. And that brings us to the first major surprise of long-term hybrid ownership. It's a highly counterintuitive truth in the automotive market that consistently catches first-time buyers completely off guard, particularly when they operate under the assumption that spending a premium amount of money automatically secures a more robust and reliable vehicle. The long-term data actually points in the exact opposite direction. Premium hybrid SUVs are often incredibly dense with cutting-edge experimental technology. You aren't just buying the hybrid drivetrain, you're buying active adaptive air suspension systems, multi-screen integrated infotainment modules, and hyper-advanced driver assistance suites. When these highly integrated luxury modules start failing in year 5, the diagnostic and replacement costs are just agonizing. On the other hand, a simpler commuter hybrid, utilizing a proven naturally aspirated engine and a highly tested planetary gear set, might lack the digital wow factor, but its mechanical simplicity vastly reduces points of failure. Flashy, hyper-complex technology absolutely sells new cars, but proven architectural simplicity is what keeps the second and third owners happy. Section 3. The battery and software trap. Let's dig into the hidden long-term risks. Okay, let's talk batteries. Modern hybrid battery packs are highly sophisticated, featuring active liquid cooling and rigid state-of-charge buffers that far surpass older generations. But the fundamental limitations of lithium-ion chemistry still apply. In fact, because PHEV batteries are significantly smaller than full EV batteries, they undergo much deeper and more frequent depth of discharge cycles. This rapid cycling, combined with the intense thermal stress of frequent fast charging and ambient heat exposure, actually accelerates cellular degradation. If you're analyzing a used modern hybrid, seller assurances mean absolutely nothing. You must demand a verified state-of-health diagnostic scan to understand exactly how much capacity the pack has lost before you take on the financial risk of replacing it. And beyond the battery chemistry, we have to address the reality of software-defined vehicles. The mechanical hardware is now completely subservient to millions of lines of code. While over-the-air updates can theoretically optimize drivetrain efficiency overnight, software bugs represent a massive liability. Sensor communication latency, corrupted updates, or isolated electrical glitches can trigger cascading drive state faults that physically immobilize the vehicle, or worse, completely brick a vital control module. Because this requires highly specialized proprietary dealership software to untangle and rewrite, it is absolutely essential to invest in brands that have a proven track record of offering stable, long-term software support and rapid patch deployment. Section 4. Real-world range versus resale. This is where the money really goes. So the crucial point is analyzing how aggressive depreciation and real-world resale values are actually calculated by the secondary market. It hinges heavily on 4 key metrics: historical brand reputation, secondary market confidence in the battery's lifespan, robust spare parts availability, and proven, verifiable long-term reliability data. This is exactly where the Geely versus BYD dynamic gets fascinating. BYD now has billions of real-world road miles, proving their DMI longevity, meaning their secondary market value is relatively stable. Geely's new Thor system, despite its incredible efficiency claims, is structurally unproven over a 10-year horizon. The secondary market inherently prices that unknown variable in as risk, meaning resale values could fluctuate wildly until the hard data arrives. A massive, often overlooked element of that resale calculation is the regional logistics of parts availability. New powertrain technology looks fantastic in a press release, for sure. But if high-voltage replacement components require complex import procedures, the ownership experience quickly turns into a nightmare. For drivers across Europe, and specifically the Balkans, this is a deeply critical pain point. Look, a phenomenal, hyper-efficient hybrid architecture is utterly useless to you if a proprietary power inverter fails and the vehicle is trapped in a repair bay for 2 straight months, completely paralyzed while waiting for a single component to be shipped and cleared through customs from a warehouse. halfway across the world.
Section 5. The Smart Buyer's Strategy. Here is how we navigate the 2026 market.
Are you ready for our second major surprise of this explainer? Because the absolute smartest financial plays in the hybrid space right now actually have very little to do with fighting over the newest, most extreme driving range numbers. The best deals are currently hiding right in plain sight, completely ignored by buyers who are totally blinded by the latest generation of showroom technology. Here is the stark financial reality of the modern hybrid market. The depreciation curve for highly complex electrified vehicles in their first 3 years is incredibly steep. Initial technology premiums evaporate almost instantly, and early battery health anxiety dramatically drives down the trade-in value. But this creates a massive opportunity for us. Purchasing a well-maintained 3- or 4-year-old hybrid is often a vastly superior financial maneuver. You intentionally let the original owner absorb that brutal initial depreciation hit. By stepping into the plateau of the value curve, you still acquire highly capable modern thermal efficiency, excellent safety tech, and you walk away with a fundamentally superior long-term financial asset for your driveway. Executing this, though, requires a highly disciplined acquisition strategy. First, you must aggressively look beyond the sanitized marketing materials and seek out high-mileage owner forums to identify structural failure points. Second, before committing, secure real quotes from independent hybrid specialists in your specific city to map out the true scheduled maintenance costs. Third, strictly verify the transferability of the high-voltage battery warranty and aggressively research the local parts logistics network for that specific brand. And finally, you must always project the total cost of ownership over a 5-year window, calculating the conservative resale value of the vehicle before you ever sign the purchase agreement. Which really brings us to the core thesis of this entire architectural debate. Whether you are analyzing Geely's extreme engineering, BYD's established dominance, or any legacy automaker trying to bridge the gap in 2026, the mandate is clear. Don't buy the biggest promise. Buy the best long-term value. Because months after the glamorous international auto shows conclude, and those spectacular record-breaking headlines fade from memory, you are the one independently responsible for the monthly financing, the insurance premiums, and every single out-of-warranty diagnostic bill. So as you navigate this rapidly accelerating, highly complex landscape of modern dual powertrains, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. Will you let laboratory numbers dictate your purchase, or will you ruthlessly calculate the best long-term value? Drive smart, demand the hard diagnostic data, and never let a marketing team make a financial decision for you. If you want to keep cutting through the industry noise to uncover the real engineering realities, make sure you subscribe and join us for the next explainer. See you then!